Welcome back. Five more questions. Five more Security Plus questions. I tried to inject more tool outputs in this one. I really did. I tried to kind of curtail it back into practical use, into practical usage for your Security Plus, something that you might see on the job. That's what That was my goal this week. Let's see if I can't stump you. Did I stump you? Did I, or did you get 5 out of 5? Let me know in the comments below. I like to know. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job. It really does. Let's get right into it, shall we? All right, question number 1. Security analyst is reviewing logs from an IP-based video surveillance system. Based on the log, which of the following is most likely the cause of the issue? Which is most likely the cause of the issue? Apparently in my slide, I double printed my question. That's okay. You'll forgive me, I'm sure. I'm sure you'll be okay with it. It'll be all right? What do we think? We've got this little log here. We see our motion detected at camera 4. We have an alert, camera feed loss. We see reconnection attempt failed. And then we see an alert, right? And so what is most likely the cause of the issue? What do you think? If you need more time, let's pause it. I'm trying to get the videos to about 10 minutes. I feel like we're hitting too high. I feel like that 20-minute mark is a little bit too much. So let's dive into it, right? Security analyst is reviewing logs from an IP-based video surveillance system. Based on the logs, which of the following is most likely the cause of the issue? The camera was physically damaged. It's a possibility. It is a possibility because we see the camera feed has been lost. We see motion has been detected. We see that we have a reconnection attempt that failed. And then we see an alert for unauthorized access attempt. And that could be from a physical. That could be a physical, right? So A is a possibility. B, the camera was remotely compromised by an attacker. That also isn't a possibility, right? That another good answer. We see, again, the log kind of indicates that it was, in fact, unauthorized access attempt was detected. And so B is a possibility as well. C, the camera's motion detection feature triggered a false positive. Well, no, that's not a case. We see with the unauthorized access attempt, probably not something that would be there. And we see a reconnection attempt. And so probably not going to be C. D, the camera's experienced a temporary network failure. It is a possibility that it experienced a network failure, but with the combined unauthorized access attempt, combined with the motion detected at the camera, probably not the correct answer. And so I feel like we can get rid of that one. So it's got to be either A or B. Which one is it? Was the camera physically damaged, or was the camera remotely compromised by an attacker? Well, if you guessed B, you would be 100% correct. And our clue there is that last line of the log, right? We see alert, unauthorized access attempt detected. So why not physically damage? Well, if we damage the product, then we might just see motion detected and then camera loss. And then maybe a reconnection attempt failure, but not an unauthorized access attempt. And so B is going to be our correct answer on that one. I hope that makes sense. There we go. All right, question number 2. Blockchain network administrator observes the following output of a blockchain verification tool. What is most likely the explanation of the failed verification? And we see the timestamp, we see our previous hash, our current hash, our transaction count, our verification status, and our reason is a hash mismatch detected. What do you think on this one? What do you think? What is most likely the explanation for our failed verification? Our failed verification. Could be any number of things. Let's dive into it. If you need more time, of course, you can pause that video. All right, let's start with A. I'm trying to start with A more often. I'm trying to go down that list where we're not giving away answers because I'm really bad at giving away answers, apparently. A block was removed from the blockchain. It is possible that a block was removed, right? We could see that. Definitely possibility because of what we're seeing here. Maybe. Let's go with B. A replay attack was attempted on the blockchain. I don't think so. Why don't I think that? Because we see that the reason is a hash mismatch. And if a block was removed, it could, I guess, theoretically cause a blockchain mismatch or a hash mismatch. But a replay attack would just read the information, right? And so with the hash mismatch, not really indicative of a replay attack. C, the hash of the current block was tampered with. Well, that's a possibility too, because we do see that hash mismatch. And so it's got to be either A or C so far. The blockchain experienced a network partition. That's not typically something we see with a blockchain, right? we would see a disruption in communication, but we don't see a hash mismatch. And so it's got to be either A or C. What do you think? A or C? A or C? This is the million-dollar question. Well, if you guessed C, the hash of the current block was tampered with, I have some really bad news for you. You're going to have to live your life knowing that you were correct. You were 100% correct. Congratulations. You were right. It was C. So why wasn't it A? Why wasn't it A? Well, if a block was removed, this would break the chain, and this would cause an error, not a hash mismatch. And yes, somebody would say, well, wouldn't it cause a hash mismatch? Yeah, if I did it all the way. But it would cause an error. The error would be the primary case, not a hash mismatch. And so C is going to be our correct answer on that one. Did you get it right? Question number 3. A security analyst is investigating a potential breach and reviews the following Wireshark capture on an unsecured Wi-Fi network. This log demonstrates which of the following security risks. We have some good ones here. We have SQL, replay, credential transmitted, and then DOS attack. A lot of different attacks associated with. Which one is it? Which one? Ooh. If we look at our log here, we see typical source and IP, source IP, destination IP, protocol, and then we see this pesky little request of get login PHP, and we have some different information there. Is it really? I mean, based on that password equals 1234, maybe it should be weak credentials. Maybe that should be the security risk, but that is not an option. That's not an option, unfortunately. If it was, that would probably be my guess. What do you think, though? What do you think? Pause the video if you need more time. Let's try and narrow this one down, right? A security analyst is investigating a potential breach and reviews the following Wireshark capture on an unsecured Wi-Fi network. This log demonstrates which of the following security risks. If we look at this, right, the big one that stands out to me is the get request and then the user equals admin and password equals 1234. And we see that. So which one is it, right? Would it be an SQL injection attack? Well, based on our limited log information, no. No, we're not seeing any type of SQL injection in the limited log that they gave us. And since they gave us a very limited log, it cannot be an SQL injection. The log only shows that it's a simple HTTP GET request. If we saw maybe some SQL injection code in there, then yeah, we would see that, right? And remember, SQL injection code usually is a number followed by a true statement. Usually something like 1 equals 1, something like that, right? So it'd be like 1 or 1 equals 1, or maybe a dash sign or an ampersand sign. It could be anything, right? And then 1 equals 1. That's indicative of an injection attack, but we don't see that here. Replay attack. No, there's nothing in here to suggest a replay attack, and I probably just gave the answer away. Probably did. All right. But nothing in here to suggest a replay attack. That would be involving reusing data, and we're seeing a GET request. We're not seeing a reuse of data. And so no, not going to be a replay attack. That would mean credentials transmitted in clear text or a DOS attack. I think we know it's not a DOS attack. I think we know. It has to be a credentials transmitted in clear text. We see the credentials. They're right there in clear text on Wireshark. And if it was in Wireshark and it wasn't in clear text, it'd be encrypted. And so here we see credentials processed in clear text. That's going to be our issue. It's going to be C. It's going to be C. Did you get it right? If you did, give your health a crisp high five. Cannot talk this morning. Question number 4. A security analyst is analyzing logs from an authentication server and finds the following entries. Which of the following is the most likely the explanation of the repeated authentication attempts? And we see some logs here, right? We see user J. Smith authenticated from the same server or from the same IP address. Looks like 3 different times. And usually within a couple minutes of each other, it looks like. What is this indicative of? What is going on with this one? What do you think? What do you think is going on with this one? This is a weird one, right? So we can see here that we've got J. Smith, authenticated user, right? So it is being authenticated correctly from the same IP address and 3 different times. And then if we look at the time index, we can see it's about 1.5 minutes to 1.45 minutes from each incident. And so let's kind of dissect this one, right? So A, the user was just trying to log in multiple times. This is a practical solution for this answer. We could have a user that logged in 3 different times from the same account, from the same login IP address. And that is definitely something that could have happened. B, the user session token was stolen and reused. This is another practical answer, right? Maybe they were stolen and reused. Is it fair that if it was stolen and reused, that it's coming from the same IP address multiple times? Well, that's a good question. So it is a possibility. So A and B so far are both possible answers. C, the authentication server failed to properly log successful login attempts. No, it's logging it. It's right there. We can see it. So not a big deal. Maybe if it's messing up, maybe that's what it's trying to say. But again, I don't think so, because the timestamp indicates that these were done at different times. And so probably not a correct answer. D, the user's password was cracked through brute force. We're not seeing that, because if it was cracked through brute force, then we would see denied or not authenticated, or it wouldn't be allowed in. But in this case, we're seeing it's authenticated. So it's really got to be A or B. Now, real question is, does B make more sense than A, right? And this is really where the conundrum comes into play. So if you guessed A, that this is normal traffic from a normal user, right? And the user was just trying to log in repeatedly from the same account or from the same IP address, you would be incorrect. Why? Because it's a replay attack. Somebody has gotten through and they've replayed. This is indicative of a replay attack. And so the user was re-authenticated multiple times within a short time frame. This is just so indicative of a token being stolen or the reuse of the token within the confines, right? And so the answer, 100% unequivocally, going to be B. Would it be A? Why wouldn't it be A? Well, we can see here that the user logged in, but we're not seeing where they logged off, right? And so that's a problem. And that's the first hint. The second hint is, why are they trying to log in so closely to one another, within a minute and a half of each other? I mean, I want you to think about this, right? When was the last time you logged into a system and there was like, you know what? Let me log in again for the same system. With one time, I could kind of almost see it. With twice, 3 times in a row, no. It's indicative of a replay attack. So our answer is going to be B. The answer is going to be B on this one. I hope that made sense. Moving on, question number 5. A security administrator configures a jump server to control access to sensitive network segments. What is the primary security benefit of using a jump server configuration? We provide that code. Some of you are probably wondering, you're like, wait a second, it's another multiple choice question. Where's my PBQ? Well, I decided not to do one this week. I figured that with the codes and with the logs and everything, that you had plenty to go over. So maybe next week we'll do more on that aspect. But I feel like this is a good question. I feel like this is one that I really wanted to answer. And so let's move on with that, right? Hopefully you can forgive me. I promise we'll do PBQs next week. I get it. We'll do it again. But I want you to be able to read this, right? I get asked all the time, do I need to be able to read logs and understand it? Yeah, for Security Plus, you kind of have to know a little bit, right? We're not gonna dive into it to a point where you have to be an expert at it, but we are gonna dive into it to where you should understand the basic fundamentals of it, right? Not like CYSA, but you should understand like what things like a replay attack looks like, and that's why I kind of approached it out for you. All right, let's answer this one. A security administrator configures a jump server to control access to sensitive network segments. What is the primary security benefit of using this jump server configuration? Here we can see that user admin connected to an IP address via SSH. Admin escalated privileges on the same IP address. Then they disconnected from the same IP address. And then we see user JDoe connected to a different IP address via RDP. So what is the primary purpose or the security benefit of using a jump server configuration? I'm not even really sure that you need the log to answer this question, believe it or not. But let's answer it anyway. A, it encrypts all user communications over SSH and RDP. No, that's not a jump server. I think we covered jump servers again in one of my previous classes last night, actually. So this is a great question for that group. B, it allows central logging of all remote access attempts. Does a jump server do that? Does it? It might. I know that a jump server does some other stuff, but does it allow for central logging of all remote access attempts? Is that a feature of our jump server? Maybe. Let's put that one off on the side. C enables MFA for remote connections, multi-factor authentication for remote connections. Does it? Does the jump server enable multi-factor authentication? Is that a key feature of MFA, or excuse me, of a jump server for MFA? It could be. It could be. D, it prevents unauthorized access to external websites. Usually not, right? Usually when we talk about preventing unauthorized access to external websites, we use them like firewalls, right? Firewall would be more from that specific example, right? So it's really got to be B or C. It's really got to be either B, it allows central logging, or C, it enables multi-factor authentication. Well, if you answered C and you were thinking to yourself, it's got to be multi-factor authentication, that would be incorrect. That is not a feature of a jump server. A jump server provides two major ports, right? It provides a secure controlled access point to sensitive network segments like our servers, like our other points, right? And it helps track user activity. And so it does 100% allow for central logging of all remote access attempts. That is a key feature of a jump server. The answer is going to be most indefinitely B. I hope this was educational. I hope you found it useful. As always, I'm Dr. K. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.